Right, seems to be working. See if the headset keeps working if it randomly breaks. Welcome back to KSP Science Mode, part 5. Plan today is to go to the M.E.M.E and actually land on it this time. So let's get going, why not? I love how it still says 1 flight in progress, which is just that orbit maybe, which is just hanging around. Right, so if we look at the Delta V map, today we're going to the M.E.M.E, which, yeah, so landing, I think these numbers are based on like the most efficient, so you usually want to add in some extra stuff, but 580 to land on it from orbit. Where's that, 14, right then, maybe write these things down so I don't have to keep looking, like referring to things on screen. And then yeah, and then I always know it's about 3400 to yeah, and then it's looking for a game. There we go. Right, so yes, we unlocked a whole load of new parts as well at the end of last stream, so hopefully we should have some more interesting things to do. So we've got all of these making history ones. So we've got the pomegranate, which allows you to have free Kerbals inside. We've got the lander can, which will be useful for actually landing on the M.E.M.E. And then we also have the Dockiport Junior, which is the first of the sort of like the Dockiports you can get, which means we'll be able to take a separate lander now and not have to land the entire vessel on the surface, which would make things a bit easier. So I think we'll start off building the lander and then build the sort of ship that will hopefully get it to the M.E.M.E and back. So we kick off the lander can. Let's set our Delta V to the M.E.M.E because we want to yeah, we want at least like 1200 Delta V ideally, if not more. For which I have a plan. We have some more engines as well, which will be, these will be hopefully useful for actually making launches easier. If we take, I'm going to try and build something like wide, because it'll be easier to land it. So my idea at the moment is, let's just see what this looks like. Let's okay, thrust to weight ratio of 20.58. And 2,700 meters per second, so this should be well more than enough. Well, let's get away with something a bit less than this actually, but we'll see. I want to try and include as much science as well on board. What's this one got in terms of? It's got to just have some modular propellant. Oh, that's good. Let's double check with the science components to see how does this weight 0.2 tons. Yeah, these things are not going to counterweight it. Oh, we have the experiment storage unit now. That's useful. Basically allows you to store experiments, because you can store them in a command module like the like a lander can or like any of the other command modules, but you can't store them anywhere else. Whereas these things allow you to bring extra copies of things of experiments, which is useful. Right. So I was thinking whether or not it's because I don't think we have any. Yeah, we don't have any ladders yet, which is going to make it a bit like. Ideally I want to land like this, so that then we can get out and relatively easily get back in. Without need of a ladder, even though that might mean we don't necessarily have the ability to bring a science junior with us. So I'm thinking of like putting it there or something, and then having but I suspect that will put the centre of mass a bit too. It's only slightly off to one side. How heavy are the? Yeah, these things are very heavy. Let's get the science experiments on here and see what we can. So if we pop that here. So, yeah. Also bring two science. That's one thing we could do actually. We could bring two science juniors. Ah, no, that's not what I wanted. So that would balance it out, and then yeah, we're bringing twice as many as we actually need, but it's, I think it's just a truss mount. Let's add some landing. Let's add our. Let's add our thing there. We want to add the rest of our which I guess we can add to the front. The general idea is we're going to be we're going to be bringing a pilot down rather than a scientist because we don't have the probe core yet. So plan would be to run these experiments from inside without needing the to do them from outside. I think we should be able to do that even without a scientist on board. Let's grab a Communitron. How are we looking? To 2400. Still 18.96 on the 18.96 on the thrust to weight ratio on the M.E.M.E, so let's look at the cargo because I think we should be able to fit a EVA experiment kit, which I don't know if it needs a scientist specifically to do this, but we'll have it in case we can do the science on the surface. And where is aerodynamics? Do we want to add some aerodynamics to make this thing a bit more? It doesn't really need to look aerodynamic. It just needs to be able to land. Let's make these white. I'm wondering if we can manage it with those side-on engines rather than these, because if we can land it close to the ground if we don't have these. Let's just try that. So these ones here, the FUDs, thrust and vacuum is actually more than, it's double. So what's the fuel consumption like? 3.161 versus, yeah, okay. Where did I put it? Ah, there it is. I think this is probably going to be the best bet actually. Yeah, because this one's yeah, I think I'll be alright. I want to maybe add a couple of batteries as well, just to make sure we don't run out of power. We can just add 4 of them on the outside. Oh yes, we also want some actually, let's add these on top of here so that we can add, where's command and control, so we can add thruster blocks. We want the slightly bigger ones. This is basically going to help for docking in lunar orbit again. So if we put these about on the center of mass, like that. That should feel like make it easier to actually do we have any we've actually got the fuel ducts, that's useful. We do have some monopropellant tanks, but we really need it for the app. Okay. Hello, little trash 999. Thanks for the follow. Oh, hello there. Cool. I think stow these. I usually have like a landers thing group. We will have, I think 5 CG, a good one for collecting science, contact material study, observe mystery goo, log temperature, log pressure data. Cool. So yeah, let's reroute that so that the whole thing is routed from there. Save, and then also make a note of how much it weighs. It currently weighs 7.9, about 8 tons. This will help. This will be helpful for figuring out delta V for the transfer stage. So we know how heavy the lander is, and we can design our transfer stage with that knowledge. So yeah, let's double check this stuff. Yeah, 18.49 thrust to weight ratio. I would probably limit, so it's about 4 times what we actually want. So does that do that to all of them? Yeah, it does. Okay, let's see what it is now. About 5 thrust to weight ratio, which is let's give it a bit. Let's put it at 35. Although I mean, we'll probably be adjusting this anyway because we're going to want to like hit full power for deorbit burns. 6.47, that should be fine. Let's save that, and then again double check the yeah, still 7.97 tons. Okay, let's build transfer stage. So what we do is we get the pods. We're going to take the pomegranate. Stick that on top. And if we find a fuel tank that's about the weight we want, 4.5 tons. There you go, 9 tons. So we just stick on there for now. Just like pretend this is our lander when we're actually doing so we're going to want Kerbin in vacuum for now because this thing's going to be operating in vacuum. Where's the crew hatch these days? I think it's on this side, isn't it? I think it's the opposite to this little window here, I think. I think that's the hatch, but I might be wrong. Cool, so where is payload? This will be useful. These will make launching things a lot easier because we're going to not have to worry too much about drag on the way up. Let's open this bad boy. We do have the larger inline stabilizer, which might be useful considering we're taking a lander with us. So what I might do actually is have the try and put the batteries in here. Wrong one. There we go. Just a load of batteries. Close this. Heat shield. Cool. Yeah. Oh yes. Before we forget, parachutes. We'll want radial ones. No, we don't want 6 of them. We want 2, I think. .3. And then these ones, which we'll rotate and put up here. Set them to 0.2. Make sure we haven't blocked any of the docking port attach wrong. Yeah, I'm assuming because it's got a fuel tank on top of it at the moment. Yeah, the charge requirements still not generated yet. We cannot transmit science. Only use yeah. So there's no blocked door. So we haven't blocked the door of these parachutes. Let's make sure that we've got the staging right. So we want these to stage first. Then we want this thing to go last. Cool. So this is what's coming back through the atmosphere, minus the giant fuel tank. Then we want our transfer stage, which may want to be a slightly larger. I'm thinking something like this maybe. Actually, what we could do is we could stick the batteries on here, because this thing's got some electric charge, isn't it? Yeah, it does. So might be a bit better if we do that. So instead of having this, yeah, and then stick our batteries on here. Have our don't need 6 of these. Yeah, only want the one of these. Now I'm thinking in terms of engines. What have we got? We do have some of the larger fuel tanks, don't we? Although I want to leave these for the bottom. So I mean, ideally I'd want to use this, but we don't have. Oh, we do have the engine plate. That's good. I believe that this is. What's the delta V like on that? Yeah, 12 and 25. That's not really very good. Let's just hope we can disable crossfeed like that. Make sure that we're not what's the ISP of these engines? 310 versus 345. Let's have a think. Yeah, 24 and 33, but that's without the lander. Although having said that, if we can get, I think my plan is to try and like only use this thing for actually like capturing at the Mun, and if I can get this thing to the Mun based on the lower stages, then that would be ideal. But I'd rather have a bit more in the tank, just in case. Let's add another fuel tank and see what we get. 1486. That's about 1.5 times what we need. So in theory, if we were to go from low Kerbin orbit, it would take us about 1100 delta V to get to the Mun. So and then capture. So if we were to reduce our fuel so that we got about 300 left. So let's just hypothetically like get rid of this. There you go, about 300. And then if we were to take this off, 754. It's not great. More fuel, I think. 2 of these. Let's do this again. Go back up to full. There you go, 1700. That should be fine. Because we'll... Yeah. So again, if you take off 1100, that's about 600 left with the tank. So if we bring this down, so we have about 600 LTV left. It's 557. Let's go up 1. 628. Okay, right. Then take this off. 1311. That should be it. That should be fine. Okay, cool. So I think we've I think this should be sufficient if we remember to put the fuel back in. Cool, so our thrust to weight ratio like 1.47, that's fine for orbital maneuvers. So let's get rid of this. Yeah, I keep forgetting to configure vessel naming. Cool. I think this is probably going to end up being the Munar ship fully. Cool. So let's stick our. Where is it gone? Is it a utility? Or is it an engine? No, it's not an engine. I was trying to find out where the launch escape system is, because I want to use it. I'm sure we got it. Where is it? I'm pretty sure we bought it. Not in the robotics, not command and control. Surprised it's not counted as an engine. Maybe it's in the... No, it's not in the pods. Oh, I'm sure we bought it. We can search. Molten stability. Oh. Did we not? I thought we'd unlocked it. Oh, actually I'll just save this and check if we did. Research. It's possible I haven't done yet. What are we looking for? Looking for the launch escape system. Launch propulsion systems. I thought it was in one of the ones we had unlocked. Is it in landing? Oh, it's in landing. We haven't unlocked it. Okay, that's fine. Obviously one of the ones we hadn't actually unlocked yet. Okay, well that's slightly annoying, but not the end of the world. We can still we can still make this hopefully relatively safe in case of an abort scenario. Okie dokie. Right, so plan is to do this Apollo style. So in order to make sure that if the launch goes wrong, we can safely abort the crew because they'll be in here. We want to put our lander behind the transfer stage. So the idea is we're going to decouple and. Oh, hey Donut. Yeah, I'm doing alright. Doing a Saturday stream instead of Sunday because I'm busy tomorrow. But yes, we're currently designing something that will hopefully go to the moon, and land on its polar star at the moment. So this is the transfer stage. We're going to dock a lander on top of here. We now need to add the land. We now need to add a. I'm thinking at the moment of a stack separator. Do we have the 18 variety? We do. Stack separator. Yeah, 40%. That'll be fine. Oh yeah, we want to put some. This thing's got mono. This does not have monopropellant. Okay, that's useful to know. Let us fix that now before we forget. Where's our center of mass? Command and control. There. Not that one. This one. Some more down here. We need we need a couple of monopropellant tanks. We don't want too many because we're not doing a lot of orbital maneuvers. Let's put these alongside the 40 units of monopropellant. This should be fine. Yeah. Cool. Stack separator. Now we need to try a merge. Do we have any tubes yet in the structure? Coupling. TD12 decoupler. Let's go for 0.4%. Where's it gone? Structural fuselage. Add that there. Then we add in our payload. Steering protective shell. Let's see if we can actually get this thing to go around everything. Ooh. I'm sure it'll be fine. There we are. There is a fairing. And yeah, there's a slight bit of clipping there. Maybe I can adjust this slightly. Just clip it slightly into the there you go. I have a feeling that this. I'll do. Right. So now to try and get this whole thing into orbit, which is going to be fun. Start with mean to go on, so let's try see what happens if we do a bobcat. Let's make sure we're still in vacuum. Yep. Yeah, let's make sure our staging's right. So this thing actually will change. Let's do clamshell with 3 sides. Cool. We want this to go first. Then this. Let's have that fire up at the same time. No, we want that to fire with this, don't we? Right, cool. 726, which isn't amazing. TWR 0.96. Hopefully we're going to be near orbit when we do this, but we do have a skipper, which I kind of want to use at the bottom for our first stage, and then add some SRBs if we need them. Let's add a bit more fuel. $874, okay. I mean, ideally we can use some of this to get towards the Mun, but we might not. Yeah, right, we'll find out. Okay. Let's stick our decoupler. Hopefully we'll see. Shouldn't be too much longer. It's just a case of adding enough fuel and engines to get up there. So we want I think this is the adapter we want. Yep. Stick a couple of these on. And then the skipper, which has somewhat more. Presumably going to be a bit, yeah, I mean it's not going to get off the ground right now, but hopefully with some assistance from some SRBs. Yeah, 1.79, there you go. There you go, so you're already at like 3,000, so that should hopefully get us most of the way to orbit. What's the bird time of these? 74 seconds. Burn time on this is 183 seconds. So I'm thinking if we fire all of them off at the same time, then we'd still get like 2400. Well, I'm not necessarily going to be having this on at full power initially. Structural. Aerodynamics. Nope, we don't want these. We want this one. Yeah. And then we want the delta winglet. Ah, thanks to the host, don't it? Oh yeah. Have a good meal, and hopefully we'll see if we're anywhere near the moon by the time we get back. Where's our launch clamps? How are we doing for aerodynamics? The aerodynamics is nicely below. The other advantage of this engine is that this engine has an alternator, so we should be fine in terms of power. Right. So I reckon let's do our action groups. Abort action group. involve. We can't turn off the SRBs, so we'll try not to abort before that happens. Shut down this engine. Shut down this engine. And I think by the time we're up here, we should either be in orbit or bust. So I think that's the one we want to decouple. Yep. Decouple this. We also want to deploy the fairing as well, because otherwise. Right. So hopefully that should keep us covered in terms of. Do these engines have gimbal? Can never remember. Some of these do. I don't think this one does. Cool. Sorry. 2.01. If we have both engines, it will. Cool. So let's check our staging. Clamps and engines go off. We then decouple the 4 engines. Then decouple this and fire up this engine, which will hopefully get us the rest of the way into orbit. Oh yes, actually we need to change this to sea level, don't we? Because yeah, otherwise we'll potentially have issues. Actually, where are these? Oh, good. These are up at the top. That's good. That's still 3,000. That's still enough, even. Yeah. 1.78, even with all the engines going. Okay. At this point, thrust weight ratio isn't great. Hopefully, we'll be enough out the hopefully high enough up in the atmosphere that won't be a problem. Yeah, always remember to put things to when you're launching to do things at sea level, because otherwise you'll be wondering why you don't have enough fuel. 76. So it looks like we're going to need all the engines kicking off the pad. So imagine if we drag this one into here. We probably wouldn't have quite. Oh no, 1.58. So we don't necessarily need all the engines. Basically, we'll use this one to control our acceleration, at least to an extent. Cool. Yeah. So we get up to here. So let's scroll up to this bit, which will hopefully be the rest of the way into orbit. We'll be out of the atmosphere as we hit that. Deploy the fairing. Then, depending on how we are, we do this. Do our maneuver to sort of dock and grab our lander, and then make our way to the Mun. Okay. Oh yes, before I forget, let's configure the vessel naming of this thing. This is going to be the Munar Lander. Munar excursion module for exploration, or the M.E.M.E. Land name priority 9, so that it doesn't override the main ship's thing. Stage orbital. Actually, no, for the transfer orbit. Navigation. Cabin. System. Cool. S.T.O.N.K.S, because nothing dates a Twitch stream quite like a silly meme references to current affairs. Cool. Let's drop this down a bit closer to the ground for reasons, and let's Munar Lander mission, or the M.E.M.E. Cool. Right, before we launch, let's go back and make sure. Yeah, I think we're okay. I think we've got everything we need. We have monoprop, we've got batteries, we have a oh yeah, we want to do a default action group. I usually use custom 10 for deploying and retracting things, so we'll this thing and toggle antenna. Cool, I think we have everything we need here. Cool. I think we're still in the dark, so I like launching during the day. So we shall warp to sunrise, hit the launch pad, and Munar Lander mission. Right, so we do want to take a scientist, but we don't want to. But he's not going to be landing on the surface. The plan is that the scientist will EVA and grab all the science experiments and put them into the main capsule before we ditch the lander, which we're probably going to leave in orbit because we can tidy it up later. We'll take, and it has to be, and Bob, scientist, and that is going to be our mission. So let's launch the vessel. So in theory, assuming yeah, so so we have our cables down here, and then I'm very strategically next to them. But cool, right? So turn on SAS. We'll have it on full power. Just get off the pad. Right. Log prograde, and we can okay. So we're already at apoapsis. We're already almost into space already. I wonder if we can start. Just adding up to our. Let's just use this to get as much horizontal velocity as possible. This should hopefully be a. Shoot, we're getting a bit of a wobble. Okay. Let's wait until let's have a look actually, see what we can do in terms of how long our burn's going to be. Just circularize at 200. Okay, we've still got time to start our burn. Let's switch to this because it seems to be a. There you go, 200 to 202, and yeah, pretty good for. We should be able to get a Munar intercept relatively easily, but yeah, we should be have a bit of fuel to spare actually once we get into space. I mean, in theory, we should be able to just deploy this now anyway. That's not meant. That's not good. Houston, we have a problem. What happened there? I'm guessing the clipping in here didn't work quite right, or something. Or the This is fine. This isn't the end of the world. It's a bit of a wasted launch, but you know we have infinite money, so cool. I mean, at least we're not in orbit yet, so I guess we can delete this because we're not making it to orbit without with half of our rocket now flying off that way. So I guess we should just abort this. So let's actually we can, yeah. But yeah, we don't actually need to worry too much about that one. So yeah, let's decouple this. Hopefully it'll be far enough away from us that it won't be too much of an issue. But yeah, so let's just turn SAS off now to conserve power because we only have 50 odd power left. Let us time warp, so we're going back down towards re-entry. Cool. So yes, let's hit retrograde. So I'm wondering if that was the clamshell deploy that was the issue there. Goodbye. It's, I imagine they're probably going to explode relatively quickly. Ooh, we're coming in quite steep. But we should be landing on water, which should be fine. So I mean, you can see how the fairing makes it a lot easier to control the thing on the way up because this ball isn't providing any drag because the fairing's around it. But yeah, it might be worth redesigning that lander, so maybe clip the fuel tanks in a bit so that it's not as so that it fits in the fairing better, I think, and not do the clamshell deploy. We'll do a regular deploy of a fairing. um, and then hopefully that will not. I'll hopefully resolve the issue of the fairing deploy um, blowing up our getting into orbit stage. But I mean, this is a good test of the of re-entry and of the two parachutes. Right, let's test that. 5.9. I think this thing's impact tolerance is that's time warp. I need to try and get the better time warp mod installed at some point. To know so. Right. So where's our shadow? There it is. So these things do happen in space exploration. You design a rocket and something's not quite right, and it explodes at an inopportune moment. But I think we go recover vessel. Right. So I think we need a little bit of a redesign of the Munar Lander mission. So let's just oh yeah, we're back on the KSC. Remember to do my transitions. Let's go to the VAB. Okay, right. So some notes. Let's try. I don't think the clipping was necessarily the problem. I think it was something to do because this seems to be the thing that exploded. But just in case, we'll try. Well, just in case it is, maybe we can clip these in a little bit. Like that, maybe. Maybe clip these in as well. I don't think we'll be able to get out if we do that, actually. Double check. Hatch obstructed. Cool, right, so also it's about the minimum we can manage. Should still be fine. Okay, so what if we do not have clamshell deploy? Let's have some more sections, ejection force 100. Let's try that. And again, we seem to have plenty of thrust from these guys. Like we were pretty much getting very much well out of the atmosphere. We can probably manage a bit more of a aggressive gravity turn as well, I think. So I think like theoretically the launch system was fine. I mean we weren't fully expanding the second stage to circularize to 200 kilometers. So like assuming again this doesn't explode when we pop the fairing, we should be okay. So let's call this Munar Lander mission 2. You can definitely tell I didn't spend all week coming up with this name. Cool. This thing, configure vessel naming, exploration 2, because the other one exploded in the atmosphere. Right, save. Double check the crew is what we want. Yeah, pilot, scientist. Let's try this again. Absolutely ridiculous. Right, SAS. Oh yeah, change this to in-flight mode. There we go. Before I forget, SAS, let's put this up to maximum, and actually we'll leave this on minimum for. Actually, I've got maximum just to clear the pad, and then for our gravity turn, and then once we've done that, we won't need the steering anymore, so we can cut the engine. The Taspia is not looking too like Jeb's just like yay, and then the other two are like, oh my god, what's happening? Oh wow, 2,000 meters. We are gradually turn. Okay, our well and truly out of the atmosphere. Oh, it might have been that we weren't travelling fully prograde when we jettisoned this either. Wait to get it out of the atmosphere, and then we can try this again. Because we don't need theoretically we don't. There you go. So that worked. Theoretically, we don't need that now that we're out of the atmosphere, and it's just mass that we have to burn fuel with. So. Because now we have to worry about it being wobbly. Let's turn off SAS to get rid of that wobble. Can we time warp? There we go. You can time warp to get rid of wobbles as well. Let's turn on SAS and point ourselves prograde again. Let's just figure out how long it's going to take us to burn ourselves into orbit. Stop burning 21 seconds. You know what that'll do. See if we can get to our maneuver node in time. Okay, we can delay it by a few seconds. It's probably fine. Oh my god, this is so wobbly. Okay, let's Let's turn off the gimbal for that. Let's try this again. Maybe if we turn off the gimbal, we'll be all right. I think it's having like the two different things at either ends of the rocket. It's what causes that massive vibration. So let's see if we can get our periapsis. Again, we've started this burn a bit late, so let's see what happens. That'll do. We're in some kind of orbit. We still have 600 meters per second left on this stage, which is okay. Can I transfer crew to a? Oh yeah, apparently I can. That'll be useful when we actually do the docking, but we'll. Yeah, I mean that's not really like technically in the thing of hard mode, but it'll be easier when we're actually docking things. When we're doing the initial dock, if we can like essentially teleport him into there, even though in theory he wouldn't be able to actually get there, but I was going to assume it was an EVA. Right, so where are we? We are in orbit, which is further than we got last time, and we have 600. We have nearly enough to get us out to the Mun anyway. Our hypothesis is 221. So orbit maybe is still there. There is our moon. Probably easier to just to go straight for the burn, and then. Well, having said that, we don't want to have to. Let's use what we have to get to a higher circular orbit. And then we can do our thing. Because we don't want to have to do our rearranging our ship partway through a burn. Like we don't need like we don't want to have to stage at that point. So I'm thinking if we add a maneuver to circularize here. Oh no, that's not circularization. Sorry, not that. So we have 681 meters per second. Add a maneuver there to circularize. So I think going from one circular orbit to another basically requires like a similar amount of burn either side. So if it takes 51 meters per second to circularize here, then we have basically 600 meters. So if we add another 300 meters per second to if we add another 300 meters per second to this, so we say 350 like that to do this, and then if we add another here and add 300 to that, then you should have a theory a relatively circular orbit. Well, nearly. It's a little bit off, but yeah, we'd have a nice sort of like relatively circular orbit there, which means that it would take. I mean, it would be overall less efficient, but essentially it would mean that we don't have to use so much delta V to get to the Mun once we've done our staging, essentially. But yeah, the general idea is to avoid having to stage partway through a burn because we need to rearrange stuff, and that might take a few minutes. And if we're trying to do an escape burn to intersect the moon, we might miss it if we're messing around. So my plan at the moment, yeah, is to get into this higher orbit with the stage that we have, then do our rearrangement stage, and then plot our travel to the Mun. So let's see how well this thing. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. Again, I think we might still be a bit long. So I think if we lock the gimbals for these ones. Well, actually, if we unlock this and then lock it again, it's just so we don't have wobble from two, because essentially the gimbal like directs the thrust to steer the ship, but we also have this thing over here which is the reaction wheel. So essentially the problem with Kerbal, if you have long ships, is that the SAS control go away. Yeah, so yeah, if you have two things either end of your ship trying to like correct for SAS, you'll end up getting a wobble in the middle, because they're out of sync. So if I turn off the gimbal here, then in theory when steering, whilst powered, it shouldn't create so much of a thing. But right, let's warp to maneuver 1 and then try this out. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I'd like to have enough fuel in the stage I currently am at to get to the intercept with the Mun, and then put it on a collision course, then do the staging, whilst we're on the way, and then correct so that the main ship doesn't crash. But right, we have 36 seconds away. How are we for power? Okay, we don't need to worry too much about electric charge at the moment because these engines recharge them. These engines have alternators, so the batteries will always recharge. The only thing we need to worry about is batteries on the lander, because the lander won't recharge when you're yeah, the lander's batteries won't recharge, so we need to make sure we don't run out of power before we get back. Cool. And I think we can map screen. We can probably do this maneuver, like adjust this maneuver so we actually have a circular orbit rather than I'll do 254. Right, let's point ourselves where we want to go. Let's time warp to our maneuver. Okay. Then once we've done this, we could sort out rearranging and then getting ready to go to the moon. And then the fun part of having to deal with the part, the stack separator. I mean, in theory, we could have done without stack separator, but I feel like it's probably a bit more stable if we used it. Downside being that it becomes a part we need to get rid of in space. I'll do. Yeah, it's roughly circular orbit. So this is going to be the fun bit. No quick save and no quick load. So before we do this, it's going to be a bit of a cheat, but I'm going to put Natasby into the lander. Ah, that's what I wanted to do, was it? Bob, Jeb down here, Natasby's in the lander. That's good, which means we should maintain control of both parts once we decouple, because that's the other thing, is that the other one might start spinning, which I would rather not happen. So cool. let's just stop ourselves relative to that. This thing's probably going to bounce off us. Hopefully it won't do any damage. Hey, for things randomly clipping it. Hopefully this thing just bounces gently, then it'll bounce out of our way. Let's keep this thing pointed at target. And then switch to this thing. Control from here. Set as target. Point at target. Control from here. Let's try. That's not what I want. Oh. Point target and. Nice and gentle. No need to rush this. I forget, I can't remember exactly how easy these things are to because the mini ones aren't as like the main Clampetron docking ports are pretty strong in their magnets. So let's turn that off. There we go. Nice and easy. We'll then transfer NATASB back to here. There we go. Right, that is rearranged with our lander. Oh yeah, we'll extend that whilst we're here. And let's get on with trying to get to the moon, which is currently here. Again, you sort of aim for about moonrise. Okay. It's not too bad actually. See if we can improve on this. I reckon being periapsis is 500. That's less than we were expecting. So we should be able to do a correction burn to narrow this down. Hopefully, just arrive about 15 kilometers. Actually, we don't want to necessarily arrive at 15 kilometers because we want enough space below our. So I think about 50 kilometers. Um, I'd probably say like, yeah, 50 kilometers is probably a bit high. Probably say about 30. So the idea being that we're going to need to rendezvous with um, the orbital stage after we touch down on the moon. So um, what we would do is, oh, after we take off back from the moon, so we'd want to like some space between the 14 kilometer like minimum safe orbit um, and the orbit of the transfer stage in order to like do our maneuver and arrange our rendezvous. So I'd sorry say like 48's a bit high. I'd probably adjust that to about 30, and then park us at about 30 kilometers like circular orbit above the moon, and then we try and do a landing. Uh, so cool. We are fortunately already almost pointing in the direction we want to go. Uh, which means there's possibly a chance we might that should hopefully have gone far enough away that by the time we actually want to start burning, we will be far enough away that we won't crash into it. Just make sure we're actually pointing the right way. I think we are doing. Yeah, so we're retrograde at the moment, but we want to be yeah, we're burning on the other side of the orbit, so we're going to be pointing prograde by the time we get there. Cool. And I think we're probably short enough now that we don't need to worry about turning off gimbal on this. I'll do. Right. What we're looking at. We have an intercept with the man. So what we'll do is we'll stick a maneuver node there. Change our focus to the moon. Then, right, we want to come in on kind of a bit. We kind of want to orbit it equatorially, if ideally. So if we do this, that should flatten us out. And it's almost exactly what we want to do. Let's go out. There you are, 30 kilometers. There is a 0.7 second burn. So what we'll do is we will thrust submit that down to like 7 seconds. It's still a bit. 24 seconds. That's a bit more like it. go ahead to outmaneuver. Yeah. Not bad. Let's circularize here. Yep. I'll do. 270 meters per second, which will give us 1,000 meters per second left, but that's with the lander, which we're not bringing back. Once we've circularized the moon, we're not going to be using this engine again until we're done landing. And we've got the lander back, and then we'll dump the lander, and then should have plenty of fuel to get back to Kerbin. Um, 130 is a bit low, maybe, I don't know. Oh well, it's too late now. That's what we're coming in at, and we don't want to waste any fuel. I mean, if we need to, we can have the lander go into a higher orbit and then rendezvous down. Um, but yeah, let's point ourselves at our maneuver node. Let's put this back up to full because it'll take us a while to circularize if we were to let's make sure that maneuver's still fine. Yeah. Where is the man? Oh yeah, it's there currently. Yeah, currently passing through its shadow. But I guess if we do this, then when we time warp, it'll come a lot closer. Spooky, spooky moon. Okay, that's fine. 30.8 to 29.9, that's not the worst. Overburned slightly, but not enough to actually like... Cool, we are now in orbit of the moon. Which is good. Let's have a look, we're currently going up on 1 hour and 40 minutes of stream time, so... I'm wondering if we can probably do the landing and then leave it. Like leave a landing and then do the takeoff, rendezvous, etc. next time. I think it's probably the best idea. Right, so we're going to take a pilot down because we want SAS control, which we don't currently have a probe core to manage that yet. So, like the risk is that the pilot can't do some of the science experiments on the ground, but in theory we don't. We just need we just need him in there to hit the do science button, and the science will get done, and then we'll have a scientist here worry about collecting it when we rendezvous back here. But yes, so I think the potential issue is that it might not be able to do the EVA science experiments, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. So what we will do is we don't really need we shall stick. I guess we could take. I guess Jeb's presumably the obvious choice to go down, so we'll take his parachute off because he won't need it, and then we'll transfer Jeb to the lander. He's got the kind of cool head that you need for this kind of job. So Jeb's now in the lander, and we shall undock. Alright. Let's just lower ourselves down to 14 kilometers, which is a good angle, just a good relative. About 15k is the height that you normally try and land from, I think. You see, we've got 2,300 meters per second. No, that's too little. 14.99, that'll be fine. See, it doesn't take a lot to change orbital height around the Mun. It's a relatively low. Fortunately, I think we're a bit fortunate in the way we've done this. Is that the desired direction of travel is this way. So I should have really thought ahead and done the and arranged the ship such that when we disconnected, I'd have to turn around and burn away from the transfer station. Actually, before we do anything else, let's just turn. We'll do power here. This should be fine. It doesn't actually use any power unless you're actually changing direction, so we shouldn't run out of power whilst we're down on the moon. Right. So we've got well, I can't be asked to adjust all the engine thrust levels individually at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this on like a low burn level. Just hope not to try not to overburn it. So I'm not going to go to full power. I'm just going to do it, and I'll probably try and do it around 10 seconds around the maneuver node rather than basing it on the start burn, which I mean like it's basically the same countdown anyway. But you know. Yeah, I think we'll do the landing. We'll probably do an EVA if we can, and then when he's back in ready to go, I think we'll call it there, and then conclude the moon mission next time. And then we burn at periapsis here to reduce our orbit into a nice circle. I'll do. Still check our power. Because like our electric charge is finite, it won't recharge. So we need to keep an eye on that. But we should hopefully have more than we need. Because we're just going to land and we're going to take straight back off again and then do a rendezvous. Like in game time, obviously in like actual time there'll be a week, but let's just warp there. And then she'll pick our landing site and then hopefully not, fingers crossed, crash horrendously into the moon surface. I mean, I've done enough moon landings that we should be alright, but obviously never done it with this craft, so. And I think we'll try and aim for the middle of one of the craters, because the middle of the craters tend to be a bit flatter. Although we should be okay, because we've got a nice wide lander, so. Cool. We're a nice low orbit now. Let's see if there's any decent landing spots. Far side crater, maybe? I think that's the far side crater. So we do a maneuver to take half of our orbital velocity, which is about 275 meters per second. Trying to land about there. Let's warp to here. Because the moon does rotate. Very slowly, but it does. And again, we kind of want to overshoot our landing site. moon's more difficult to land on, so this is going to be fun. No, I forgot to adjust the burn so that we complete it as we hit the node rather than midway around it. Oh well. Okay. Cool. Right, so we should be landing right about there, so we want to be landing a bit before that. But before we do anything else, let's switch this to ground because we want to know how high we are. Let's orient ourselves so that it's a bit more obvious what we're doing. Cool. A bit close to the ground for my liking. 1,000. Let's cut that down. No, cut off, stop it. That's fine, that's okay. Yeah, we're going back up to 2,000. That's fine, that's alright, we've still got enough delta V. Screwed that up a little bit, but we screwed it up in the way we can actually recover. Oh yeah, that's from got a bit bit scared of that actually. Right. Let's pop that back vertical as close as we can to it. Yeah. 500 meters. Right. Let's just stability assist away. Cool, that works. Did nothing. Nothing exploded. Yeah, the moon's always a little tricky because it's basically minimus, but gravity's higher, obviously. So you're okay, we're down. We have 6 minutes left, so we can at least do the old. Let's just do this. Oh yeah, per hour. Let's set this to landers. In theory, we do this. We should, in theory. What are our action groups? Custom 5. Ah, that's fine. We can still reconfigure them. Conduct material study. Observe mystery goo. Log temperature. Log pressure data. We'll see if we can do this whilst we're outside. But there you go. All right. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, we can do a crew report as well. Cool. So for Navigate 5, we should have material study. Cool. Let's oh yeah, let's turn off that thing because that's just going to get in our way. So it's going to be quite fun trying to get back on here because we're going to have to try and jump and grab the ladder, which will be fun. But let's. Oh yes, we need to do this as well. Actually, let's reboard. Stick that in here because we want that outside. Before I forget. EVA again. Cool. Cool. We are on the moon. Jeb. Let us do an EVA report. Take a surface sample. And let's do the EVA science. Yeah, you can do it. Brilliant. Have a game of golf on the moon. And away it goes. And that, of course, actually does give us some science as well. Keep experiment. Let us plant our flag. Munar Prime. East far side crater. Cool. We have planted a flag. Let's see if we can actually collect the science from out here before we need to do it in EVA. You might not be able to reach everything, but we'll find out. collect data. Okay, yeah. So I think I misunderstood last time I did this. So a non-scientist can take the data from a thing, but he can't restore it. So it's basically single use unless you have a scientist to repair everything. But because we don't really care much about that, I'm not sure if we can actually if we can actually reach these, but we'll find out. Yeah, you can reach these. Take data. Take data. We shall have to do this one with EVA because we can't reach it from down here. But we've got the rest of them. You can't actually collect this one because we already have this is redundant. Like we already have one copy of this experiment for this biome, so you can only like each Kerbal and each command pod can only hold one of each kind of science for each biome at a time in each situation. So I think we've got everything we need. He's got free stored data. That's fine. Yeah, he's done EVA report. Surface. Has he done EVA report? EVA report. Let's have a look. Temperature scan. Material study. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, because the yeah, keep. Oh yeah, so the EVA and science reports they're all kept as separate reports in the context of it being a Kerbal. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun bit because we need to try and okay, that was easier than I was expecting. I was expecting this to be some kind of horrendous issue, grabbing on and or jumping and managing to grab the thing, but if we board, then we should have 7 stored data, which includes the temperature scan, the crew report, report, EVA science experiment, surface sample, material study, atmospheric pressure, and then we've also got this thing, which we will grab. We have to remember to grab in space, otherwise we'll be kicking ourselves. So we are just at the 2-hour point, and I think that might be an okay place to leave it. We'll leave Jeb in the lander can with his nice little view out on the moon surface. For him, it'll be only a matter of minutes, but for us, it'll be considerably longer. It'll be about a week and a day, I think, because I'll be back a week tomorrow, so Sunday of next week, for the continuation of this, which will involve basically taking off from here with our science, rendezvousing with S.T.O.N.K.S in orbit, and then going back to Kerbin. Yeah, so the meme is M.E.M.E 2, and this should be okay. That should be 2, but I forgot to name it properly. Oh well. So yeah, we should be rendezvousing with S.T.O.N.K.S and then heading back to Kerbin next time. But yeah, so I think we'll leave it. What's our battery like? Battery's fine. 407 out of 450. We should be fine. So yes, we'll leave Jeb smiling in wonder and awe at the very strange landscape he has found himself on. But yeah, we shall return to the Space Center for now. And yep, save our game. And we will leave it there. So I think that's been a relatively successful stream. Obviously we had a slight hiccup in our first launch attempt to get to land on the Mun, but we managed to recover and no Kerbals were lost. So there's these things do happen, and it's part of the fun of playing this game is when things explode when you don't expect them to. But yeah, so I will see you guys in the next stream, which again will be a week tomorrow, 5 p.m. till 7 is the plan, where we will return from the surface of the Mun, hopefully, and definitely not get Jeb stranded anywhere again. But yeah, until then, cheerio.